My name is Gal. I'm a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter, an actress. I'm Israeli, and I'm Jewish.
Welcome to ADL's Never Is Now Summit. I am so honored to be here in our fight against anti-Semitism.
We will never stop finding new ways to prevent bigotry, and we will never relent and never apologize for fighting for our community with everything we've got.
There are 59 hostages, and each one of them must be reunited with their family.
Whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim or Israeli or Palestinian, you can take action to bring light to the world, to build together, to elevate humanity.
The most diverse city on the planet must be and will be a place where everyone can live and work and worship free from fear.
To be in an environment with other people who are like-minded, who are fighting for justice, who are fighting to get the word out there about what the Jewish people are going through, is something I didn't know that I needed, that I badly needed.
I think it's really great to have a space where all these Jews can come together, especially seeing so many young high schoolers. I think it's really empowering and inspirational.
Our spirit is unbreakable. Our joy is irrepressible. Our story is impossible. We are kind, resilient, innovative, generous, and strong. And, as you can tell from this speech, really funny.
But I knew that maybe, just maybe, I could make this world a better place. That's what I'm fighting for, is equality. And what ADL does, if you think about it, is having everyone matter, because every single person matters.
Please welcome and recognize our 2025 Heroes Against Hate.
Hatred, intolerance, and bigotry are on the rise, but we should feel safer knowing that the ADL has our backs. So thank you, ADL, for the work that you do for all of us. I'm Israel Chai. Thank you.
When you're curating an exhibit like this at an event, it takes a lot to find all the information that you need, especially ADL has been around for a number of years. So tell us a little bit about how you curated this exhibit.
Yeah, so the fun thing about this exhibit and the fun thing about the project is that a lot of ADL's history is not known, and it's not always easy to find. And so when creating this exhibit and finding the images and the story we wanted to tell, a lot of it went off of the people who have been with ADL for 40, 30 years, asking them what they think is important, and then also what we thought was visually interesting. So someone who maybe isn't into history or doesn't know a lot about the story of ADL, we wanted to find photos and images and stories that really told the vast, vast history of ADL, because ADL has done a lot since their founding in 1913.
So there's a lot of information here, right? And you have, only a certain amount of boards that you can use. How do you pick the content that you know will be engaging? And especially at this conference, when you want to be able to, people are walking by, like we'll bring them into the conversation.
So a lot of that is we broke it down by decades, starting in the 1910s when ADL was founded in 1913. And so we wanted to start with a photo of the founder, Sigmund Livingston. And then we just went and based it on years of curating. I've been curating exhibits for over a decade, and I have some idea that I think people will find interesting even if they're not into history. So we have an image of Superman over there when we worked with that with the Institute of American Democracy. We have letters from George Lincoln Rockwell, who was the founder of the American Nazi Party, where he was writing directly to the ADL threatening them. And so I think that's interesting, because I think that often people don't realize the vast work that ADL has done over the years to fight anti-Semitism and to fight hate.
So as a curator, there's got to be a favorite part to the exhibit. What's your favorite part?
That's easy. It's the photo of Sigmund Livingston. He's the reason we're all here, the reason we're still doing this work. And so I think we often forget that it was one man who started this. And so he's actually at the very beginning of the exhibit. So I like the photo of Sigmund the best.
In looking through this exhibit, there are a lot of very powerful images. How did you decide to pick the images specifically in this, and for this event?
Well, the first thing I thought of was I didn't want to find anything too upsetting. Obviously, in the ADL collection, there's a lot of material that is hard to look at, and I didn't want to bum people out any more than they're already going to be bummed out talking about anti-Semitism for 2 days. So I picked photos that were interesting. We have a comic by a very famous artist. We have when ADL had a special on TV honoring their history, and I think that's interesting because that's not something you're going to see today. But you're going to see ADL was so big they had a produced television piece. Also, the ads that they were doing, let's keep all our kids free of prejudice, I think those are just nice, colorful photos that are going to catch someone's eye, and that's really what I was trying to do with this exhibit.
As anti-Semitism is on the rise, you're looking for things that, like I said, don't shock people, and you have to be concise in terms of the amount of actually words and descriptions. How do you do that to create the impact?
Use a thesaurus. That is very helpful. I also think that letting the images do the talking, so like the letter from George Lincoln Rockwell, does a lot of that story with anti-Semitism within its own description. Or we have photos of where people did fundraisers for ADL, and it's just trying to tell the story in less than 50 words, less than 100 words. And sometimes that can be tough, but really a thesaurus helps you a lot with that.
In your view, what is the most challenging anti-Semitic situations that the people are facing now?
From a historic perspective, I think that history is repeating itself. The things that we're seeing in the ADL archives from the 50s and the 60s and 70s, it's the exact language, word for word, that we're seeing today. So the fact that nothing has changed, even in 40, 50 years, makes me want to fight harder and fight hate and anti-Semitism, but I also think that it can be hard to see the same thing being repeated. But I also think that since anti-Semitism has been on the rise in the last few years, especially since 10/7, I think it's hard for people who maybe hadn't experienced anti-Semitism in the same way that people experienced 50, 60 years ago that are seeing it now. I think that is really tough. But I think it's also opening more conversations with people like ADL.